I just want to make it clear. The NBA draft lottery is not rigged in any way, shape, or form. I get it. It was very improbable for the Dallas Mavericks to win the lottery last night. I get it. 1.8% chance to get the number one overall pick, and they won it. And it all happens right after they trade Luka Doncic to the Lakers. And conspiracy theories happen, because that's what this is. Conspiracy theories happen when a lot of people are upset about something or they don't like the result of something. And obviously Wizards fans and Hornets fans and Jazz fans and every other team that had a better chance to win the lottery than the Dallas Mavericks, they're all obviously very upset about this. And rightfully so. I get it. I'd be upset too. I would be, seriously. But it's not rigged. It's not. In fact, this is par for the course since 2019. In 2019, the NBA changed the odds of the lottery to get teams to not tank. And the odds changed. It went from, the team with the worst record in the league, they had a 25% chance to win the lottery, and then it worked its way down from there. It doesn't work that way anymore. Now the teams with the three worst records in the NBA have, a 14% chance, all three of them, to win the NBA draft lottery. And since 2019, when those odds changed, we are yet to see the team with the worst record in the NBA win the lottery. We've also had a couple instances where teams with low percentage chances to win the lottery won it. Last year, the Hawks won it with a 3% chance to win the lottery. In 2019, the first year that they changed the odds, the Pelicans had a 6% chance to win the number one pick, and they did. They drafted Zion that year. We're going to talk more about that because these conspiracy theorists are driving me crazy. This also isn't the first time that a team with criminally low odds has won the NBA draft lottery. The Cavs won it in 2014 with 1.7% draft odds. They won the lottery in 2011 with 2.8% draft odds. The Magic won it in 1993 with a 1.5% chance to win the lottery. And this is back when the team with the worst record in the NBA had a 25% chance to win the lottery. So I'd argue those are way bigger deals than what happened this year. And I understand that the timing of the Dallas Mavericks winning the lottery makes it look fishy. Seriously, it makes it look fishy, but it wasn't rigged. I'm telling you, if the NBA was going to rig the NBA draft lottery this year, it wasn't going to be for the Dallas Mavericks. It would have been for Philadelphia or Chicago. Both of those markets are bigger basketball markets than Dallas is, because no matter how good the Mavericks are, the NBA in that city is always going to be second fiddle to the Dallas Cowboys. Meanwhile, in Chicago is a basketball city. Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose, they haven't been good in over a decade. Chicago would have been a great place for Cooper Flagg to go. The 76ers, they are dying for a winner up there. Those are the teams that the NBA would have rigged the draft lottery for, not the Dallas Mavericks. So no, I don't think that it was rigged. And after the draft happened, after the lottery happened, I get on Twitter or X, whatever, and I see all these graphics, and it's like every time the NBA draft lottery was rigged, there was a big trade that happened, and then the NBA rewarded that team for making that trade. Well, how about we just look at all the times a big trade was made, and, they didn't win the number one pick. The 76ers traded Charles Barkley to the Suns in the early 90s, and they were never rewarded with the number one pick for making that trade. When the Wizards sent Chris Webber to the Kings in 1998, making the Sacramento Kings an awesome team there in the early 2000s, yet they were never rewarded with the number one overall pick. The Clippers and the Bulls actually won it the next two seasons. In 2019, the Thunder sent Paul George to the Clippers, Los Angeles, the second biggest market in the NBA. They sent him to the Clippers to play with Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, the Thunder were never rewarded with the number one overall pick. It went to the Pelicans and the Timberwolves the next 2 years. In 2006, the 76ers sent Allen Iverson to Denver to play with Carmelo Anthony. 76ers were never rewarded with the number one overall pick. The Raptors actually got it that year. Just a few years ago, we saw the Portland Trailblazers send Damian Lillard to the Bucks, and They weren't rewarded with the number 1 overall pick. They weren't. They just sent Damian Lillard to go play with Giannis, and the NBA just said, thanks, you don't get the number 1 overall pick. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the NBA draft lottery just isn't rigged. In 2008, the Grizzlies sent Pau Gasol to the Lakers, handed them 2 NBA titles because of that trade. And in return, they got Marcus. They got a whole bunch of nothing. And Marcus Gasol ended up being a good player, but at the time, he wasn't a good player. And the Memphis Grizzlies didn't win the lottery. The Bulls did. They won it that year in 2011. Also, 2011, the Nuggets were not rewarded with the number 1 overall pick after they sent Carmelo Anthony, one of the biggest stars in the NBA at that point. The Nuggets were never rewarded for sending Carmelo Anthony to the New York Knicks, the largest market in the NBA, and honestly, a Knicks team that had been irrelevant for quite a while when that trade was made. If there was any time to rig the lottery for a team that, helped the NBA out by moving a star player somewhere else, it would have been 2011, 2012 when the Nuggets moved Carmelo Anthony to New York. The lottery's not rigged. I get it. There have been a few weird coincidences. 2019, after the Pelicans traded Anthony Davis, they won the lottery. Let's also remember, they were awful that year. They had the 7th best odds to win the lottery that year. That's really not that crazy when we've seen how the pattern has happened, because 2019 is obviously the first year that the odds of the lottery changed. And we've seen it now multiple times where a team that probably shouldn't win it has won it. In 2013 and 2014, the Cavaliers were awful. They were terrible. Also, who's rigging the lottery for Cleveland? One of the smallest markets in the NBA. Also, of course they won the lottery those years. It's amazing. LeBron James leaves, and all of a sudden, your team becomes awful. When Kyrie Irving's your best player, I think we've seen it enough. You're not a playoff team. You're not going to be very good. Okay, I get it. 2014, they only had a 1.7% chance, but sometimes crazy things happen. Just go back to 93 when the Magic won it, and they had a 1.5% chance. Okay, that's just how the lottery works sometimes. Okay, also 2012, the Hornets trade Chris Paul, and then they won the lottery, and they draft Anthony Davis. Well, guess what? They should have won the lottery. They had a 15% chance to win the lottery that year. In 2011, 18 months after LeBron left the Cavaliers, they won the lottery with only a 2.8% chance, and they got Kyrie Irving. Again, I ask, who is rigging the lottery for the Cleveland Cavaliers? I promise you, no one in the NBA is sitting around trying to figure out how to make the Cavaliers and the Pelicans awesome. Those are two small markets, and New Orleans is a terrible basketball city. Cleveland's not. Cleveland is a very good basketball city. But you see my point. If they were rigging the lottery, they would rig it for, the Lakers, Bulls, and Knicks every year. Those are the 3 teams that they would rig it for, because those are the 3, meccas of basketball in each part of the country. And obviously, the Midwest is Chicago, the West is LA, the Northeast is New York. That's who they would rig it for. They wouldn't rig it for Dallas, where they're always going to be second fiddle to the Cowboys. If they were to rig it for any Texas team, it would be San Antonio. By the way, they got the 2nd pick. That's a much bigger deal than people are making it out to be. Part of that is just because of the Mavericks thing, but I get it. Okay? The NBA draft lottery isn't rigged. Sometimes crazy things just happen.